All right. So this week would be looking into communications or communication, any one of these. So this would be uh next week is what? Yeah, this is our penultimate class before, because the two final classes would be handled by guest facilitators, just like I've mentioned. So this is the class before the last class that I will officially take. So I'll miss you guys, but don't worry. And so we're talking about communication, right? Communication is the heart and soul of any brand. So the whole reason you are learning how to, yeah, knowing what your why is, yeah, and in the process you are defending it and all of that stuff. The channel through which you do all the things you would do as a brand person, or as even as an organization, as a brand, is through communication. So you are going to have to consistently be in communication with your customers, with your audience, with the people that you have decided to solve their problem. So if at any point you miss out on this, it could mean a lot for you. Communication is what connects everything else. Um, just like I said, if you miss out on comms, you stand a chance of whittling into non-existence. And non-existence for a brand is not that you will not be known, is that there'll be disproportionate perception of you in the minds of your target audience. So all of them would not have a consistent perception about you. And the truth about communication is the fact that people are looking for something to be a part of, and they are looking, and they really would love to identify with something different. So, and different in the sense that different does not mean that totally different, but the good kind of different, the different that makes them feel seen, the difference that makes them feel heard, the difference that makes them feel as though they belong to a community. So how you are going to achieve that level of loyalty, or that level of, or how you are going to achieve building that community that comprises of you and your target audience, or you and your customers, is through communication. And communication in itself comprises of the sender, the message that is being sent, and the receiver. So there's something called the tribe effect, right? God created us not to be alone. God created us as social beings, and science confirmed that humans are actually social beings, right? Humans are social creatures. We want to belong somewhere and identify with something. Just like I said earlier, communications help us to achieve that. So understanding the tribe mentality of humanity and its implications for purchasing decisions is key in informing how to design a comms framework for a brand around the beliefs, values, and mores of a tribe to influence the desired perception of the brand. So just like the ad we watched recently about Burger King trying to whittle down their customer base. So that sounds like a intuitive approach. It sounds like something any organization should not do. But the truth is that there were some people amongst their so-called customer base that were talking trash about them, that would have been more harmful than good to them. So what did they do? They had to solidify the loyalty, or they had to test the loyalty of their customers. They had to ensure that these people are the people that are rooting for us. These people are the people that can defend us day and night, anywhere, come rain, come sunshine. And that's why I would not agree with your illustration about Apple, that if Apple does not produce a new phone in the next 3 years, people are going to port. Yeah, there will definitely be a percentage of their of current Apple users that would port, but there are people who will stay with Apple till they die. Why? Because an experience has been built, a community has been built. There are some people that are still using the iPhone 7 because they do not have money to buy the iPhone 14, not because they could not afford another not because they can't afford another Android phone that would be better than the iPhone 7 that they are using, but because there's already a sense of community, there's already a sense of belonging. There's already a sense of community, there's already a sense of belonging. So that organization has been able to achieve that. And how they achieved that was through communications, consistent communication through time. So it's like the human factor in branding is like the cornerstone of the work. The idea is to create brands that matter, that demonstrate the ability to help people who they want to, or to help people become who they want to be, and that fits seamlessly into the picture of the human tribe. So why you exist in a community sometimes is so that the community helps you to become something. You have a picture of an example. I'll use Greek mythology as an example. People believe in serving Zeus and the whole other host of the gods are down Olympus, because they have a common belief that these people were once men who lived on earth, and because they lived a life of valor and whatever, they were rewarded with immortality, and now they can live on Mount Olympus. So you see people, and another example are the Nordic people, the Vikings, the Nordic people, who believe that for you to have a space in Valhalla, you have to be a valiant warrior here on earth. And that's why you rarely find a Nordic warrior, who is not brave, who would not want to give his life on the line for what he believes in. That's the tribe mentality. That's the tribe effect. The fact that every single person in that community have a shared and consistent belief. Is the same thing that happens in football, is the same thing that happens in religion. It is the same thing that happens with a few other brands that have very, very strong following. It's the same thing. Yeah, okay, I've mentioned football with the Ronaldo Messi banter, with the Chelsea Manchester United banter. It's all an example of the tribe effect, how that people have been able to consistently communicate a particular value or a particular sense of purpose to the people that are following them, and those people have in a way become their Horcruxes. So I've in a way become their Horcruxes, and that's why, even though I met an Arsenal fan yesterday, and even though someone said that Arsenal has been breaking hard back to back, but after I changed club now, but he was like, no, that is Arsenal to whenever and stuff like that. So, and that's loyalty. That's what people, or that's what organizations are looking for. They want to have that strong following, and how you achieve that strong following is to consistently communicate to your audience, is to consistently defend your why. When you do that over time, you find out that you'd be turning the head over time as you consistently defend your why. You're reiterating why you exist and what you stand for as an organization, even though the time changes. Do we understand? Now, modes of communication. Modes of communication refers to the medium with which communication is made. So these are just actually basic. All of these things, we know it in a way because it's involved in the branding process and in understanding how to, because you definitely talk every day, right? So modes of communication refers to the medium with which communication is made. Communication primarily involves a sender, just like I said, a receiver, and message that is being passed across. Modes of communication vary with how diverse humans become, and specifically to what appeals to the demographic you are sending to. So we have interpretive, interpersonal, and presentational. All of these are just big English to classify all of the things that we already know. So I have like like a weird example in my head, and before we move into the font theory, you know that if you are a brand that serves a blind community, right, or a deaf community, right, you would not use your, let's say, Milo that has a sonic, just peeling off from Precious's class last week, a brand that has a Sonic logo or a Sonic icon would not major on their Sonic icon if they're serving a demographic that is deaf. So what would they do? They would leverage more on communicating their intentions through visual, or pictorial or presentational modes of communication. Right, so we're going to be looking into the font theory. The font theory is also more like a psychological, it's a concept developed to basically like it was developed in the study of humans and in psychology of humans also. So how do we get people to behave in a certain manner? How do we get people to act in a certain way? So people were thinking, organizations and people were thinking, and this theory was developed. And organizations over time have adopted the use of the font theory to either sell to their customers or to inform or to get their customers to take a test, so that in quotes they can create solutions, or they can market a particular solution or a particular idea to their customers. So the principle behind the font theory is that the easiest way to change people's behavior for the better is to make whatever they need to do fun. So application of the font theory is most times called out of observational analysis done on an audience, right? So consider Honeywell noodles and the Indomie jingle and the reason you fell in love with Milo or the Super Strikers also. Milo was ensuring that you took breakfast, because what they poured in our heads was that with Milo, you'd become a superstar. And then they had a backup sponsor or a backup. Yeah, I don't know if they sponsor a collaboration, but with the whole Super Strikers stuff that they showed, and you just sort of joined, and you found, even though it was Bonvita that was in the market. I think Bonvita was in the market first, and it had dominated the market, even up until the point that when we go to buy Milo, we say, I won't buy Bonvita, which type? Milo. So I know I did that. So I'm speaking from personal experience. So and that's what a lot of organizations or a lot of brands leveraged in talking to their audience and in getting to market things to their audience. So they communicated in a more fun or jovial way to get their audience to either believe a particular concept or to believe in a particular concept, and to also respond in a certain way. Now, this is where things get tricky. Now, you are always going to have an anomaly in your function. So don't mind me. When I was writing this, it was physics that was in my head. That one customer that decides to be the problem, it's going to be there. And in reality, those type of people are not really customers. They're just people that got into the party. They were not invited, but they saw a friend of a friend of a friend, or they felt that, oh, I should be here, and they came. Fine, that's all well and good. We want that, the fact that, but then there's one thing you can't control, is the fact that people would always make trouble. So it's not your communication channels, it's not your messaging, it's a function of that singular individual being the rebel to your brand. So what do? You plan ahead, you make room for the madness, and either quell it down or ride on the waves of the crisis. So people are going to, as a brand, people are going to drag you. You should be ready for that. People are going to have counter opinion from the opinion that you have. People are going to, what's the word? People are going to hate you just because you exist as a brand. And this might be because you hold a certain belief that is contrary to the belief that they hold. And for that sole reason, they will want to cause problem for you. It's something that would always happen. It's part of the human build. So as a brand communications person, or as a person that's developing strategy for businesses, you should be conscious and deliberate enough to plan ahead for these things. So take into consideration what you do if someone begins to drag you out. You can even do you can develop communication documents ahead of time, or inform units in the department or ahead of time that, okay, if so and so happens, you can direct such conversations to my desk. If so and so happens, this is how you should respond. Do not get emotional with the customer, so that both of you will not be shouting and raising your voice on the road. Example is our downfall drivers and the person that gave them bad change, or the person that they not tell them that they had 1,000 naira and everything. Those type of people always exist. People will enter the bus knowing that they don't have money, and when they get to the location, they'll just say, okay, I carry money. I seriously carry money. They didn't, but those type of people would always exist. People walk into your shop and do what they want to do, and would wait for you to respond or react in a certain way. So you have to have planned ahead of time how you are going to process such situations and how you are going to respond communication wise. So that's something we would need to be very, very conscious of as people who are building and developing strategies for brands. So it's a core part. It's not emphasized a lot in trainings and in conversations around brand strategy, but it's a core part that every organization would not and cannot run away from. If it doesn't happen now, it's going to happen sometime in the future. So there was circulation of news that came out that Indomie will cause cancer and all of that stuff. What Indomie did was they began releasing promotional materials that amplified the health procedures that are taken in cooking Indomie. So they'll tell you to ensure that you cook it. They'll give you ads where they'll show you ads where the water is boiling hot before you put your Indomie in, and they'll show you that, okay, you can even add sides, you can add vegetables that are healthy and all of that stuff to their ads, because they want, at that point, yes, the sale of Indomie actually dropped because a lot of houses stopped buying it. But they consistently pushed out that communication material to counter the narrative that Indomie causes cancer. Does it cause cancer? I don't know, because spaghetti too, all of them are still pasta. But they came out and so they didn't come and tell you that no, Indomie does not cause cancer. Who is saying all these things? They just consistently continued pushing a certain narrative, dwelling on the health benefits of taking Indomie and all of that. And all of that stuff. So you'd see brands do that, and to reinforce their solution and to reinforce the safety of the solution that they provide, because for those type of organization, they've planned ahead. They've been long in the game, they've planned ahead, and they know that stuff can go south. So this meeting room will close in the next 1 minute. So if you close this, we join back. I think I'll need to fix my payment for Zoom before the next class. So that's on managing crisis. So when we come back, we are going to take questions, but we can take one question before the time runs out. Yeah, so who's asking question? No question.
Hi, Tolun.
Yeah.
Hi. Can you give like another example of handling those kind of customers, or handling crisis, that like something that a brand did?
Yes, I can. But I'm going to close this meeting room now, and so that we'll join back, so that we'll have ample time to break down your question. Works?
Yes, that works.